Persona is a series spanning 25 years. Yet there are only 6 mainline games, the most recent being 2020's big hit, Persona 5 Royal, or perhaps you could call it 2016's big hit. Persona 4 Golden and its original form, Persona 4, are more than a decade old. That decade has come with a lot of change, both in gameplay and in culture, which means that Persona 4 has had a pretty big uphill battle with the passage of time. It's a game with the highest highs, but also the lowest lows. However, I stand by my opinion that this game is still a fantastic experience, even though some of its charm has been eroded away by the passage of time. I don't really know if I'd call myself nostalgic for Persona 4. I mean, I didn't play it until after I played Persona 5 in 2017. That said, when I first experienced the story, I watched the anime, and I was ensnared by the overwhelming charm and lightheartedness that surrounded an otherwise heavy plot.
Dude, what just happened?
Something bit me.
Whoa! Anna left teeth marks too! Are you okay?
I might be dying.
No, you're not.
In a way, during that time in my life, I felt like Persona 4's cast was like a group of friends not so different from my own. It left me with fond memories of the days I spent with them in high school. My love for this game and its cast really is because a lot of it reflects what I felt like friendships were like in my own high school years.
I've been deliberating over it for a long time now.
P4 carries some themes that help give you a boost in getting to know major and minor characters. The game tackles seeking the truth, whether it be the truth of a mystery or the truth of self.
I am a shadow, the true self.
Its focus on truth and true self are things that really give you an in-depth look at the characters. The social links in this game focus more on finding who you are and accepting and denying the thoughts in your head. It creates a lot of relatable arcs and situations for the player to experience. The story, on the other hand, often focuses on issues a specific person is facing. These are all blown up in a pretty intense fashion. The social links following these usually attempt to continue trying to tell their story, as you can't really solve everything by letting other people do the heavy lifting. Before, when I said the highest highs, I'm definitely more referring to a lot of the side character social links in the game. A lot of these start off kind of bland, or even with characters being flat out unlikable, but you'll find that you might be missing out if you toss them aside too early. That said, not all social links are equal. Some are just kind of not great. Plot-wise, I think this game holds up pretty well. It contrasts its rather disturbing plot with tonal dissonance of friendship and happiness. It might be jarring for some, potentially lessening the impact of heavier moments, but when the game needs to be heavy, it really does deliver. The story lives up to my expectations no matter how predictable people might say it is. But with all of this said and all this praise I'm giving this game, there are some issues that I think I should address.
Ah, you're giving me the creeps. That's it, you're stuck here for the rest of your life.
You know how I've been saying that Persona 4 contrasts its plot with light-hearted moments? Well, it's time for me to be a little more honest. While many of these moments can be entertaining and funny, there still are some that can be hard to stomach. Humor is ultimately subjective. You may find that every joke sticks the landing in Persona 4, but there are a lot of jokes that I just don't think mesh with people right now. A lot has changed since the game was written between 2006 and 2008. Even if you count the stuff from 2012, it's been a whole decade. Time has changed, culture has changed, and because of all of this, humor has also changed. This isn't some rant, by the way. I'm not saying that, oh, the good old days were better, blah blah blah. No. I'm simply stating that anyone who hasn't played Persona 4 should be aware that a chunk of this game's dialogue might not be to your liking. And as I've stated before, even though there are a pretty big handful of moments that just aren't funny or aren't really that entertaining, especially in today's world, there still are legitimately funny moments in the game, and the VAs really help on delivering on that performance to enhance those moments.
I said now! But this isn't... Are you resisting an officer of the law? You're under arrest!
What the? A castle?
Who does he think he is, the king of a castle?
P4 has the same core gameplay as the other modern Persona games. However, it stands in the middle ground of having the most mechanics from Persona 3, but not everything that Persona 5 has. Of course, it should be pretty obvious that Persona 4 is not going to have everything Persona 5 has, considering there's almost 8 years in between the two titles. One major difference is that Baton Pass is not in this game. You're going to have to strategize differently. Combat otherwise is mostly similar with follow-up attacks and passive beta showtimes. At its core, it's the same structure of the combat system you know and love, but it's not exactly the same.
Okay.
This game's dungeons, however, do not have anywhere close to the charm Persona 5 has. And if you're wondering why I keep comparing things to 5, well, the port's been out since October, so I figure enough people have played it that are interested in Persona 4 Golden that it might as well compare the two. But you have to remember that this is a late PS2 era video game, and that means older designs. Persona 4's dungeons are mostly made up of randomly generated floors, mixed in with some static ones. The static floors often have unique mechanics or items that you'll need to obtain. For the most part, the dungeon crawling is fine, but there is one dungeon that no matter how you play it, it forces you to backtrack, and it sucks, and I hate it, and it's no fun at all. Why would they implement that? I don't know. Furthermore, there is one dungeon that has like this unique gimmick to it, and it's just not really that fun. To be honest, a lot of this game can be kind of brutal. If you aren't keeping pace with the enemy levels, or at least taking advantage of fusion, the game is not going to let up. But to keep things short, I'd say always remember to fuse, because early on, you're gonna need it. I also want to say that with the quick save feature that this game is supposed to get when the ports come out to modern consoles, that could be a pretty big help in alleviating some of the issues I have with the game's gameplay. The soundtrack is the highlight of Persona 4. A lot of very good songs that keep you pumped up and keep the atmosphere light when it needs to be, and heavy or creepy when the time calls for it. That said, you're probably not going to understand half of them. A lot of the lyrics are just words meshed together. But also, one of my key issues with this game is its heavy reliance on certain tracks. Again, this is something that has kind of come with age and replays of the game, but the number of times this piano track is used for anything bad happening is ridiculous. There's no sense of scale with it. This track just kind of plays whenever something bad is kind of happening. Nanako has a stomach ache? Your friend is missing? Someone's dead? Someone is being a little bit creepy? You get my point. By the time we hit the middle of the game, this track kind of feels so overused that it just doesn't provide the same feeling that it should. The game definitely has its highlights in its OST, but sometimes it's just a bit too much.
That's right, you're not wearing the glasses.
Persona 4 Golden does look very much like a late-era PS2 game. It's not a beautiful game by today's standards, and the models can be, well, horrifying. And sometimes characters turn their heads as if they were owls, but the game still looks fine. I mean, if you're jumping into this expecting the pinnacle of visual quality, that's kind of on you. This isn't a remake, it's just an upscaled PS2 game.
I try and try, but nothing comes out of my head.
Persona 4 is a very good game that has lost some of its charm to the passage of time. That's not a bad thing, by the way. It just means that there will be parts of this game that really show its age. I still think that this is a fantastic story with great characters, and at its core, it's still a modern Persona title. Do you think that Persona 4 still holds up today? How about you? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for more things Persona, Atlus, and JRPG related. A big thanks to you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.